petrified. There is an armor, ancient magic made it strong, and you shall wear it when you face the fight. This harness will guide us through dangerous night. It humbles the foe with its grace. The thorn nail will help us prevail and survive. Our deadliest fate we Well done, my son. It's the way to save you all. But don't you think the realm's been purified? Creatures of darkness are still longing for your foe. Keep them in thrall. It's time to smite and ignite. This harness will guide us through dangerous night. It humbles the foe with its grace. The thorn nail will help us prevail and survive. Our deadliest fate we embrace. My king, how was I supposed to know? Everyone will falter when you die. This harness will guide us through dangerous night. It humbles the foe with its grace. The thorn nail will help us prevail and survive. Our deadliest fate we embrace. Yeah, my son, smite them all. Fellow armsmen, I ask you, will you follow me tonight to break their spine and reclaim what once was mine? Those cravens backstabbed me, deceived me. Never shall I tolerate their crimes again. Now let the hunt begin. Yeah. 7,000 souls scared and daunted, such a tale of woe. Not too long ago, this village was a golden sea.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It's back to Learning Fives. Once again, my name is Blaster Boy, and I am joined here by Zeta. I will be handling color, he will be handling play-by-play, but really, it doesn't matter what our roles are, Zeta. This is a 1v1 between Silth and Jump, the two program directors of Learning Fives. This is a very special match. This is a best of 7 1v1 series with Conquest format. So this should
Are you
definitely
sure we're
be
not
interesting.
watching Hearthstone's Best of 7 Conquest? I feel like I've seen this somewhere, but no matter.
I'm certain this is not Hearthstone.
Are you sure? I mean,
I did not sign up for
players
Hearthstone at the very least.
died,
If this is Hearthstone, then we have a real issue here.
They've got plenty of RNG in the crit system and the new the new flex queue that they've brought us, like I'm pretty sure this is Hearthstone. I mean, they've got flashy new expansions. They're leaking new
true.
champions / cards just today. That's
Yeah.
same game as far as I'm
Pretty
concerned.
much the same game. Yeah, definitely. But we are getting through picks here. So this is Conquest format, as I said before. This means that if either of these players win with their champion, then they are not allowed to pick that champion again for the rest of the series. So each of them have picked 4 champions. They've already pre-picked them. They know what their pools are, and they're just going to be cycling through those with no bans here as these matches go on. So Zillion and Lissandra are the first 2 up. One of these will not be returning for the rest of the series. This will be pretty interesting, I've got to say.
The choice of Summoner's Rift also makes this a little bit more curious because it means that there's no health packs, but there are backs. So you could strategically back and come back with some items without giving up your death, without, sacrificing first blood or your turret to the enemy. But even so, I mean, taking Flash, that's expecting a lot.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there. There's a lot more potential to be able to back, and the item pools are different too. There are a lot of items on Summoner's Rift that just don't exist on Howling Abyss, and the same with Howling Abyss. There's items that only exist on Twisted Treeline and Howling Abyss and a few of these other side maps that just simply don't. They aren't there on Summoner's Rift. So, it shouldn't be that weird. We shouldn't see anything too out of the ordinary since we have the usual pool of items. But that's definitely something to keep in mind because it seems like a lot of those items are built a little bit more for 1v1s or for constant all-out brawling, like the Wiglet's Witch Cap, for example, on Howling Abyss is, and Death Cap and Zazonia's together, basically. So
I mean, you can't back in the Howling Abyss one, though.
Yeah, exactly. The items are geared much differently in that
My
mode,
only,
for sure.
my only real point about that was the fact that Jump has chosen Flash over an actual combat summoner. So
yeah, that is
planning something really spicy in terms of dodging.
Yeah, and he's gonna have his work cut out for him versus List too, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, Zillion is weakest at these early 1 through 3 pushes. Lissandra doesn't have to worry about mana till usually level 4 generally after she gets 3rd spell. Sometimes even after 4th level up. It's going to be interesting to say the least, but again, I mean, there's quite a few champions left on the board. We don't know what they are. They do, and as far as I know, they are in constant communication during this, so this could be a very, very spicy 1v1, but getting into the first one, who do you think's got the upper edge?
I think that there is a huge risk from Jump. So by taking Flash and picking Zillion, so I'm going to have to give it to Silth. I did want a full proper outro here, but we are running out of time on the spectator delay. We will be loading in just a second, guys. Don't go anywhere. We're going to cut to some music, and we will be right back.
Do 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 do. Oh, I know. That's the point. It's the music.
Alrighty, guys. here we are onto the Rift. Game number 1 out of 7.
Actually, I'm not because I bug splatted, so I'm gonna leave the intro bit to you.
All right, I am on the Rift.
Possibly most of this first game. We'll see how fast I can get back in.
Well, I brought the stream with me at the very least, and Silth is emote spamming, and it is extremely annoying. Let's go, like, look at the frog or something. Yeah, that seems like a better idea.
Well, you know what's good about the emote spam? You can mute it in your champion voices, and I have. If anyone else is curious, take all of the volume on League and slide it to 0, and you'll have a great experience. It's what I like to call the T1 special. Perfect for those days when you just feel like you could, run it down mid. You're just so mad, like.
I just /mute all, like, whenever I'm in that.
Sometimes that doesn't cut it, though.
True,
Sometimes your fury can't be contained, and my client is officially borked.
Uh-oh. Well, right now
I don't know what's going on.
The trades here in the mid lane have started. Silth took a little bit of damage at level 1 with that immediate trade from Jump, dropping a bomb onto his head. Kind of punishing that emote spam, and ruining the BM. You're loading in. Silth is taking quite a lot of damage, taking extremely low, but we got to remember that none of this damage has too much sticking power for Silth because he can just be pushing the whole time, basically. He can go back at any time. It's still Summoner's Rift. There's still all the same rules as your regular solo queue games, except there's 4 fewer people on each team to feed. So, I mean, it could be better or worse, depending on the type of player you are. Still taking a lot of damage, though, from all of these bombs from Jump. And Jump should surpass Silth by just one. Nope, not even one creep there. He misses all of it under turret. Worrying trend. Have you joined us yet,
It would be more worrying if he was stuck in D2, but considering the relative rank of our program directors, I'm going to have to say that it is slightly more than a worrying trend. I think Weldon termed it an unfortunate series of events. That just have occurred simultaneously. Missing double bombs is another one of those, and
yes,
it's a lot of mana to commit for nothing.
Yeah, and that's a huge pitfall of Zilean. If you go for a big commitment on something like a double bomb, and you might have to speed yourself in or slow them down, if you miss those, then you lose everything. You lose so much mana for every single cast of that. You go in. Silth going in, though.
Exhaust, Ignite, both down. Jump, ticking low. Now he's got to be careful because he has 90 HP to his name. And the CS counts, while they're still the same, means that Silth gets a bunch of shove-in, and then he can get his back timing as the minions get wasted on the turret.
Yeah, hopefully this will work out for Silth. He is shoving pretty hard now. Jump will be decently quick to get back to lane, but yeah, he will be losing out on a lot of this farm. Probably the entire wave, very nearly. It looks like he might get XP for 2 of them, but it's a great start for Silth, but the items are still dead even.
Yeah, the back timings when you're separated by 6 minions. 6 minions at this point in the game.
He got 1
is
extra
a potion.
Yeah.
It's really just a curious thing, actually, is the choice to go for standard potions instead of refillables or corrupting pots, because usually in a 1v1 you'll see things like corrupting pots, just because if you can back, it means that you don't have to buy potions ever again.
Right. I think the big risk with that in a match like this, where there's 2 big AP threats, well, 2 champions that want to build as much AP as they can, because that's a lot of their power, I think the big risk is falling behind in AP at this point. For the start, I could definitely see that being better. At this point, I don't think it would be too viable. Silth going in, though. Looking for a big
Still
engage
got damage. She's proccing it, and the double bombs, that double bomb combo is so hard to land. When Lissandra starts to slide away across this lane, you've got to predict, you got to know where she's going to end up, and hold that bomb. Because if you don't, you're not going to land the combo, you're not going to get the stun, and then the Thunderlord's proc isn't going to mean too much because you can't follow it up with more damage.
Yeah, so we do see Silth, again, being taken low, but Jump is also taken very low. So the double bombs are definitely very packed in power, but Silth is getting very good trades with all of his spells, basically, Every single time that he wants to go in like that, the big risk now is just Jump constantly poking him down. But he still does have a 2-potion lead. This might be an all-in from Silth.
He has to go all in, but one more auto attack will do it, and Jump to take the first set? Yeah.
First game, yes. So that is it for game.
What he doesn't know is the fact that the double bombs stun in a radius if they hit any minions. So,
yep.
Good thing he doesn't have to play against that a second time now. The Zillion off the table, but Lissandra, I mean, it's still available, but Zillion would have been a pretty good matchup.
Yeah, it definitely looked like it should have gone a bit better for Silth. It was really close there at the end, but Jump did pull it out. Overall, we will be back with game number 2, so don't go anywhere, guys. Just give us a moment to get it set up. All right, guys, we're back.
Yep.
We are back.
Game
Now
number
for
2.
game number 2. Yes, Jump took game 1 pretty quickly. But since Silth lost, he can lock in that Lissandra again. Jump now does have to diversify his champion pool, however, as the Zillion will not be returning in this best of 7.
Yeah, I mean, the Caitlyn, though, that was, if I'm right, the main power pick for pretty much all of the 1v1 tournament that we saw last year, so... Or was that this year?
It was this
It'll
year,
all kind
last
of blend
session.
together.
Last
This year,
session,
last
yeah.
sesh, yeah. It's something.
Well, Jump is still deciding on his pick here. Silth is already locked and ready to go, though. So, I'm wondering if we're going to see the same summoners coming out from Jump this time. It would be... It feels like it should be a risk, but it worked out for him. He won. I mean, it's hard to argue with a victory. And he does lock in the Caitlyn. Only 10 seconds to choose the loadout, though, so he would need to swap these up pretty quick. It doesn't look like he's going to go for it. Silth is actually going to swap up Exhaust for the Flash.
Curious. We did see a little bit of a difference in combat summoner power early, but after they had all been burned, I mean, came down to, one auto here or there, so...
Yeah.
Not having a second combat sum, even if it would be something like a heal, means that you're going to be at a little bit of a disadvantage early, and after they burn it, a lot of disadvantage at every fight after that.
Yeah, it'll definitely be curious to see how exactly this lane will play out. I feel like Lissandra has a lot more power against Caitlyn. As Caitlyn, while she can poke a lot more with autos, every bit of poke that she lands is not nearly as impactful as Zillion bombs are, because Caitlyn's meant to be tossing in dozens of auto attacks and abilities mixed in as well. as opposed to Zillion, who is really meant to throw in one bomb here, one bomb there, maybe 2 bombs at a time for the stun and even more follow-up. But aside from just his one spell, he doesn't really do too much. Lissandra should still be able to push Caitlyn in here. The only thing I'm kind of concerned about for Silth would be his being able to close the gap on this Caitlyn and really get in there and deal meaningful damage to her. I wonder if he'll wait for 6 to do that.
It's possible. I mean, waiting to 6 is a long time to wait in a 1v1, and
Yeah,
the longer
it
you
is.
wait, the more time you give for poke and trading opportunities. So I
And
don't
mistakes,
see it
too.
being able to happen. I mean,
Yeah.
realistically.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. I think we will just wait out the rest of the spectator delay with a little bit of music to help us out. We've got about a minute left, so don't go anywhere. We will be right back with game number 2 in this best of 7.
Reckoning, bring back hope and peace, restore our glory to live forever. Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace, restore our glory to live forever. Bring down the dark regime. I know how to unleash eternal power. Lead us to order. I am the light bringer. There's a fire that burns inside. It's an instinct that never lies. The target's tattooed between our eyes. Stand and fight under the lights on the higher stage. A part of your life they can't take away. Just like the blood running through your veins. Everyone's watching through your eyes. There's only 2 options, win or die. Win or die. Win or die. It went from a spark to an open.
Well, then you're going to get to hear my lovely voice commentate the first minute and change of a best of 7 game number 2 between a Caitlyn and Lissandra. And as of right now, it's just BM emote spamming. Oh, there's an auto attack. But you can imagine what it looks like when a Caitlyn and Lissandra are standing in mid lane taunting each other. I think that everybody's seen that at least one point.
Well, hopefully, I'm having a bit of an issue right now, guys, with getting my client to launch, so hopefully we'll be able to jump in just a second, so bear with us. Zeta, as you said, just cover whatever you can. Hopefully I can load it in a second.
Soon TM is the
Soon TM.
time frame that he should be loading in, but minions have spawned. The only auto attack healed up fully, and a lot of respect, really. Usually I would be autoing the crap out of my lane opponent if this was one of my 1v1s, but they are gentlemen of the highest caliber when it comes to respectful duels. So now begins the real test. Silth versus this Caitlyn. Caitlyn known for her dominance of 1v1s, and now the pressure begins because these auto attacks 650 range, you can't really dodge them, and you gotta be careful. Every single time she steps up, tries to take a single minion, the autos start raining through, and with the Peacemaker ready, starting Q, on Caitlyn's, it's hard to get anywhere near him because traps are decent, net is decent, but Peacemaker at level 1 is Still a very, very powerful spell. It's not to be discounted whatsoever, and the range is insane. It allows you to hit from well beyond the range that turret can even aggro onto you, and so poking this Lissandra, shoving her in now. Deficits opened up in CS to be about, depending on how many CS is actually caught up off this wave, it looks like 5 or 6, and we're only on the second one here.
Yeah, I am
7,
in the game
actually.
now, so we can finally see what's happening. This is great. It's a good start. Yeah, definitely we can see that there is a CS deficit here for Silth. He is not having a great time versus this Caitlyn. I guess this is I thought that this Lissandra would be able to stand up to a bit more poke from this Caitlyn, but with how aggressively Jump is playing and how he's playing around the bit of a lead that he has right now, he is just going to be bullying around this Lissandra, and this is just kind of what you end up seeing, Lissandra being kind of a token top laner for quite a while. This is the kind of champion that you would see get pushed around by like a Vayne top that comes out of nowhere or something in solo queue. It feels like.
You still there?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure you didn't cut out. This is an awkward place to end the sentence, but the trades are
Silth.
starting to turn around slightly. I mean, the Caitlyn still has heals, but Silth is not giving up just yet. Decent claws, down 10 CS though, means that unless he makes a play soon for the kill, he's probably going to lose this one.
Yeah, this is really not looking good for Silth right now. He's definitely not going to be winning in CS anytime soon at the rate that this is going, but Jump very well may want to back pretty soon. That's probably why he's just immediately pushing this wave here so that he can get the recall off. Yeah, definitely wouldn't be surprising. He's going for whatever poke he can get, but he's not going to be able to kill Silth at this point, I feel like, with that little mana. And now a health deficit just from Silth being able to regen over the past little bit. Missing that cannon, though. No, he can't get any of the CS. There's no way that he can get 2 autos in on any of those creeps, so...
Gotta
Really
really
rough.
prime it early. It's gotta be walking up to your turret. You gotta know the turret patterns and prime it way before you need it, because if you don't, this is what happens. You just end up with a load of dead minions and no gold to your name.
Yeah, and Jump actually decides against going back. I don't know exactly what window he's looking for here, or if any. He may not want to back at all. He might just be looking to farm up as much as he can and just continue healing with this grasp and just poking Silth out. But it's really not coming through right now. He's still... he's about
it's
even.
grasp instead of traditional.
Yeah, it's Grasp of the Undying. A very
Instead
strange
of
on
Warlords.
Caitlyn.
That's a little bit interesting, especially considering that while the Warlords doesn't give extra damage, it gives more lifesteal, especially when you're
Yeah,
constantly
it does.
autoing instead of every 4th. So
And Grasp
strange.
is only every 4th against a champion too, and Warlords is against everything. Granted, it is reduced versus minions, but he would still be healing for significantly more, I feel like, than with Grasp. And that also means that he dove very deeply all the way through the tank tree in order to get there. So his masteries are very much off. If I had to guess, he probably took. He probably went something like 9-0-21 or whatever. I can't think of the current point distributions. It's been like a year, and 12-0-18 or 8. Yeah, 12-0-18. That's how it works now, right? Numbers are hard.
Yeah. Well, they're hard if you spend all day playing League of Legends instead of learning basic math, but not like any of us have ever done such a thing.
No,
and
nonsense.
Silth, he's still hanging in here. Oh, he's got the ult. He does get exhausted, but the ignite should be enough to finish it off. The auto attack now. Silth picks up a kill with the insane turnaround, and that evens up the score at 1-1 now. We're going to look to a game number 3. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more hot 1v1 action.
So reply, so reply. power that's underneath, and you can't see it till you believe. On the edge of infinity. Feel the rush under the lights on the highest stage. A part of your life they can't take away. Just like the blood running through your veins. Everyone's watching through your eyes. There's only two options, win or die. Win or die. Win or die. It went from a spark to an open flame. Now destiny's calling out your name. So reply, so reply. Ignite, it went from a spark to an open flame. Now destiny's calling out your name. So ignite, so ignite.
All right, guys, welcome back. Game number 3 between Jump and Silth. Out of this best of 7, it is currently tied up 1-1. So now the Lysandra is off the table. The Zillion is off the table. There are a few more picks that we could see coming through here. Silth is just going to lock in this Katarina pretty much immediately.
Yeah, it's a curious pick, especially with the new Katarina. I think that her 1v1 potential has gone down
Ooh.
a little bit farther than expected, but against an Ari, you're going to have to be quite on point in order to keep your CS up.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there. The Ari will be interesting into the cat. The cat in itself will also be interesting, of course, though. I have played a few games of new cat personally, and she is incredibly fun, and I feel like she is strong in her own right, but she's very difficult to play, it feels like. It's easier for you to get the perfect setup. There's fewer variables that rely on an opponent to screw up for you to hit that fantasy of resets. It does not apply in 1v1s, though, and her setup is much more weighted on her rather than her allies or her enemies. So she requires a lot more pre-planning, and it's honestly quite a lot of telegraphing.
Yeah, it's especially with the fact that the dagger isn't totally RNG now. I mean, you can sort of control it, but at the same time, that means that there's a range you can play around based on where Cat is and where you know she has to end up now. That negates a lot of her power.
Yeah, and like I said, extremely telegraphed with around those daggers. She's absolutely going to be focused around those daggers. There's no way that she can go in without them, really. They are very, very much important to her damage. That her new passive, when she picks one of those up, does a very large chunk of all of the damage in her kit. So it'll be important for Silth to pull that off. And even if they do hit 6 here, which they very well may not, honestly, Silth is just going to get charmed out of his ult every single time because Jump has nothing else to throw it at. Unless he misses it somehow or he throws it out for a trade.
I mean,
yeah,
we barely
like
got to ult last time.
If they even get there.
Neither one wanted to back. I mean, if Jump had backed earlier, double door and shove it in, that's it. Turret's down. But
yeah, well,
the way it went, if they both play the same way, yeah, it's a possibility.
Yeah, very narrow one at that, though. We will have to see how this pans out on the Rift. However, guys, we are about 30 seconds away from loading in, so we will be right back in just a moment with another exciting game in this Jump versus Silth series. Don't go anywhere. Alrighty, guys, here we are onto the Rift for another exciting game. Oh, I paused my replay here. Oh dear. Okay, I'm hitting all of the wrong buttons right now. I paused it again, apparently. Nice. Solid.
Yeah, O is scope word, P is pause. Just for reference, in case we needed a quick refresher on the new client. But
oh man, the new replays, man. I love the ideas of the replays, but the overlay changing just barely enough for us to have to change our overlays is just so tilting. I gotta say. But here we are, game number 3 now between both of these players. They are 1-1 tied. And this is basically Jump's main for like the last year, more or less at least, versus a brand new assassin. And I don't even think Silth plays a lot of mid lane particularly, so this should be pretty interesting. I think Jump is fighting for more than Silth is here. And in the past, this has not gone well for Jump, I'll say that much.
Well, we'll see if history repeats itself or if you can teach an old dog new tricks, because right now it's about this Katarina. I think that it's 100% whether or not he actually understands what the heck the champion actually does, because right now it looks like he was slightly confused and or mystified by how that dagger went. And if that is the case, this is going to be a very interesting game number 3.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, I think it will be anyways, again, just because of the cat being so interesting. None of the other assassins were drafted here. None of the new reworked assassins were drafted for these matches. So as they went over them, like I said, they decided their pools beforehand. So Jump going in for some aggression here onto Silth, proccing the Thunderlords already. Nearly chunking Silth down to half. But he will proc 2, so that won't really mean all that much, except Jump committed quite a lot of mana to only 1 potion from Silth. And it's worth noting that Silth went for the Dark Seal, which is kind of a curious pickup, because most of the power of that item is in getting multiple kills, but a really underrated part of it, depending on who you talk to, I guess, is the potion buff, the buff to the power of every single potion and potion-related item that you use can be hugely impactful, especially when you only have a few to work with in a situation like this. Silth's still not looking good in CS, but we saw how much that mattered last time.
Potion men, take him by the hand and lead him there to the Wonderland. I mean, it's pretty much the same case here. It is just all about whether or not he can use these to out-sustain, because getting one more seems like it's, you know, it's a pretty okay thing. But it's really actually a lot better than that. Oh, steps back in. When you're stepping back into range of Cat and you are down a potion, you are going to get pressured out of lane hard now. And this is the real interesting part about Cat, because champs like Echo, champs like Lissandra even, can move early in lane. Ari can't. I mean, as much mobility she has later, she just does nothing right now. So, not being able to dodge around the blades. I think he was a little bit confused also. I didn't want to mention it because I wasn't sure exactly what happened, but
I don't know. It just
completely gone off the map.
Yeah, it just fell into the void or something on the way. I don't know, but something to take note of if you haven't played or looked at new Cat yourself. Some mechanics to keep in mind: these daggers can be shunpoed to. The trade-off is she can no longer shunpo to daggers, or rather, she can no longer shunpo to wards. Yeah, so she can still shunpo to minions, still shunpo to enemies and allies and stuff like that, but no more wards. Daggers are the replacement for that. Her Q drops one, her W throws one up in the air on wherever she's standing and gives her a burst of movement speed, and when she picks them up, she will use effectively what is her old W packed with even more power, since it's not really a cast on demand spell, and it will also reset a very large percentage of her shunpo's cooldown based off of her CDR. When I played her the other night, I was able to get up to a 98% reset whenever I picked up a dagger on shunpo, so I would go to walk up to a dagger with shunpo, and the instant I would pick it up, shunpo would basically be back again. It was like a fraction of a second. Silth won't quite be able to get that crazy since this game won't go that long, but it is still a 70% reset right now. Yeah, 78% of the cooldown just gone whenever he picks it up.
Yeah, it's
pretty strong.
strong to say the least. Put it that way, but what is also strong is CSing to try and win through that method, because when you're up 5 and shoving the lane in and everything looks like it's going well, you don't really need to even take the fight if you want to win this overall.
Yeah, that would be a little bit of a boring way to do it, I would say, however. And I highly doubt that either of these guys just kind of want to go off silently into just pure farming, really. I want to see what Silth will do on his Alawi. Of course, if you have seen Silth play in the past or seen any of his discussions in the Discord, he is a big Alawi player, and he has a very good history, very good track record versus jump with the Alawi. And both these mid laners now are 6. Here we go.
Oh, Ignite is there. It's ticking one more tick to do it. First blood. Silth picks it up and makes it 2-1. The Ignite tick plus that ultimate does so much damage, and if you let it go to 6, that's what's going to happen. Silth is picking these champs that just win the game as soon as it hits.
Yeah, and all that took was the one aggressive summoner spell that he took. He casted the only summoner of that entire match, and it was that Ignite that just secured him the kill. He didn't need anything else. Jump was never able to throw anything down. Overall, a really good game from Silth, I feel like. He just bided his time. He waited and collected all that XP and that bit of gold that he could. Hit that 6 and just went all in onto jump immediately, even though they got it at the same time. Cat's level 6, if she's able to use it properly, is just way more impactful than Ari's is.
Yeah, and that's just how it is. It's...
All right, well, we will be right back in just a second.
We'll be right back in a sec.
Yeah.
As I fell to the ocean floor, fading light through an open door, I saw myself rise with the water. They thought they could keep me down, hold that breath and watch me drown, but all they did as It's not over till it's over. Through the nights in the rain, through the time and the pain, the stand will never fall. And then at the end of it all, we will win, we will chant. It's not over till it's over.
Convenient song ending there. Very convenient, in fact. We are into game number 4, Champ Select, here between Jump and Silth, and they are already locked in. So now, the Katarina is gone because Silth won with it. Lysandra is gone, and Zillion's, Caitlyn, and wow, Zillion are both gone as well.
No, the Caitlyn
Nope.
he didn't win on.
Oh, okay. He did not win with the Caitlyn yet then. So, right.
He
That's
lost
it.
to the
Zillion.
Lysandra turnaround ult.
Yeah, so Silth now has some momentum riding into this next game, and he's locking the Lucian. Both of them go with Exhaust instead of Ignite this time. So this will be a very different lane, I feel like, from the last one, because last time they both had kill pressure by dealing more damage than the other, bringing some true damage to the table, heal reduction, and now they're both just saying, you do less damage than me, and that's how you're going to win. And they're probably both going to use it at the same time, so it probably won't make a difference. It'll probably be as effective as a combat summoner as Flash is this game, if I had to guess.
Might as well just go like straight up Ignite heal. You know that your enemy has been bringing Exhaust all day long. Ignite heal is so many stats. That's just a big ball of stats, and you can't reduce the heal if you don't have Ignite. So
Right. Yeah,
I mean,
I'm so
that's
confused
part
by
of the
these flash
metagame.
picks.
That's part of the mind gaming it.
Yeah. I'm so confused by these flash picks, I have to say. I do like them to some extent versus the Ahri. It makes sense because you can flash the charm or the orb or something and make a huge outplay. But from the Ahri, it doesn't really do all that much because we saw Jump in a position where he could have flashed last game, and that was at the very end when he ended up dying, so it wouldn't have made a difference anyway, and he already had his ult by that point, so it basically did the same thing. You should not really risk flashing in when you can just recall instead and take a potential lead and go back and have more items before they do, if nothing else. It's a very unique 1v1 with recalling enabled. And that was the biggest point of the last game, honestly. That was what enabled those fights. Jump went for Lost Chapter, and Silth went for Aether Wisp, and the Aether Wisp just ended up doing way more, and the Katarina just ended up doing way more at 6 as well.
Yep.
All right, well, with that, we will be going to a very brief break, guys, and we'll be right back after this short 30-second spec delay and some fabulous music. Don't go anywhere.
the sun steps down and escapes the day, we'll calmly walk away from the fray. When structure falls and all else fails, we will build it once again.
Unfortunately, the music did not end for this, as the loading screen was very, very short. But here we are on
Just
the
add a
Rift.
record scratch every time you got to cut away from it. I mean,
That
that's
would be
worked for DJs for
so great.
centuries. That is, assuming DJs have been around for centuries. Assuming, that
I'm
in
sure
the
they have.
in Victorian England, do you think that there was somebody who would walk around at the party, just like carrying, a portable phonograph or standing by the phonograph, and just, in the
Record
middle of
scratch.
a waltz, just
Yeah. I'm sure there was. It had to come from
break it
somewhere.
down.
Well, let's just
I mean, the
assume
record
that that's
scratch probably has been around since the record, right?
it. Oh yeah,
Well,
definitely. Well, that would make
The
sense.
records do deform, though. I mean, every time you scratch them, they do scratch, especially on the softer, smaller records, like the old school ones. Or I guess they're larger, technically. Anyway.
I don't know. Anyway,
Slightly different.
only slightly off topic too.
I mean, this is more on topic than I usually am. Let's be freaking real.
Sure.
Oh, the smack talk is here, though. Silth, he's going to say he's going to end it in the next 3 games because, after all, if they make it to the grand finals, there is only one matchup it could be, and that is Cassiopeia versus the Alawi. We'll see if it happens. We'll see if it makes it there because right now, Jump, you're down 1 game?
1 game.
It's
Yep,
2 to
2 to
1.
1.
Okay.
Yep. Silth
For
needs.
some reason, I was thinking it was 3 to 1, but
Nope, not quite. Silth
not
needs
yet.
2
He has
more.
a chance to even it up right here.
Yes, absolutely. And Silth did admit just a moment ago that he has the wrong masteries on Lucian here, so this should be an interesting matchup. The push so far is pretty even. Controlling this wave is decently important to what kind of aggression your opponent or yourself can pick up. And I'm sure everyone is well aware of the Lucian level 2 power spike, but it will not be coming out here as Jump also hits level 2 at about the same time, in spite of still having a very slight push lead for a moment. Does not pan out when it matters, but the poke is good so far. Whoa, he's crazy. Good trade, though.
Yeah, it's better than I thought, personally, that Lucian was going to be able to do against his Ahri, but Jump seems to be picking these champs that need items to do things. I mean, the base damages on Ahri, they're okay, but they're really nothing to write home about. Most of the champs he's been picking are just not fantastic for the 1v1 scenario. Caitlyn was a inspired pick, to say the least, and that would be fantastic right now, but
It would
Ahri,
certainly be
not so
interesting,
much.
Yeah, I feel like you risk getting pushed around by this Lucian as the Caitlyn too, though. I don't know if it would necessarily be better. It might be slightly better than this Ahri, but I don't know. It depends on how Silth would play around the Caitlyn and how Jump plays on the Caitlyn. Caitlyn really appreciates a lot of items as well to really get rolling, but her base damages are there, and hitting early headshots can turn it. But Silth picking up that charm for himself there. Takes quite a lot of damage on the way out, but he's going to be able to heal and kind of out-sustain Jump, as he really does want to get back to base.
I'll be honest, I haven't slept in about 20 hours, and I'm essentially falling asleep with the microphone, so if I go quiet, that's what's happening. Don't be completely alarmed. It's normal. It's called sleep deprivation.
Hopefully these two don't put you to sleep. Hopefully we see some more interesting scenarios coming up here.
It's a little bit of that, but I won't entirely say it rests on them, because there is, ways that I could have avoided this, like actually being able to sleep, or, possessing the power to wind back time in order to get adequate amounts of sleep at a normal person hours. But, seeing as that's not possible right now, we've got some more Ahri and both backs. More Doran's items. Yay.
Yep, just a lot of early game power here, and Silth actually picks up some boots as well. He invests slightly... Well, he just sits on a little bit less gold than Jump does, honestly. And he buys one less potion.
I feel like a longsword is always better. Like, boots are okay.
I think
it's not a stat stick.
Yeah, it's not stats. I think the big thing with the boots is being able to try to dodge out what Ahri is throwing at you. Since all of her damage, basically, except for the Foxfire, I guess technically her ult... Well, no, her ult technically would be a skill shot. Since her Q and E are both skill shots, being able to dodge those out is really important, and Silth is... He found a really good trade there. It was close in the end. But, oh, man, now he's getting bullied around. He really needs 6 if he wants to be able to shove this out, too. So he's just going to have to sit back and try to heal up as best he can.
Let's check the XP, because right now, Jump is...
Silth is there.
He's closing in on 6. And, while Silth is there already, can't instant kill this Ahri. He has to land a W. He has to be able to pop, this ult onto a moving Ahri with that enhanced proc on it, because otherwise, how are you going to keep up? I mean, especially once he hits 6, now that he's 6, triple dashes, there's just no way you can 1v1 it.
Ooh, Silth. Yeah, he's not having a great time in this lane right at the moment. That may have been a little bit too greedy, but Jump does not quite punish it.
Yeah, right now, a very reserved Jump for how much of a lead he supposedly has. He's had the pressure advantage. He's had, just the fight advantage for the last couple trades. He's got to take the trigger. He's got to take the plunge sometime, but right now he is just hesitant to do that. He does not want to over-risk it. He doesn't want to go down. He misses the orbs, and another missed combo. The charm hasn't even landed either, so Jump under a lot of pressure, and he's letting it show.
Yeah, I think Silth can really just try to go for this whenever he wants. Well, if he plays around the cooldowns. He had a few seconds of a window there, but he just doesn't go for it. Now he hits 7. He's playing around his Thunderlords really, really well. Whenever he can get in with the Thunderlords and proc it, that's going to be his best trade. Hitting that Q now starts up the timer. Doesn't look like he's going to quite commit for it, as it's super risky without having any creeps up that far, but once the Q is down, I mean, Jump is missing a lot of his damage. And these Orbs of Deception just trying to shove out the wave desperately here. Both of these players seem like they want to go back at this point, but... Or they should... It feels like they should want to go back at this point, I believe. With Jump being so low. Silth as well. He's definitely not in much better of a position, but he can really shove out this whole wave here, and... Well, he's actually not going to. He's just going to let it reset and sit. Looking at the items coming through at this point, though, it is a little bit of armor picked up for Jump versus the pickaxe of Silth. Now, he didn't just pick up armor, he also picked up Lost Chapters, so that's a little bit more AP and some mana as well, with a bit of sustain built into that passive too. So this is actually not a terrible situation for either of these players, but Jump just decided to go a little bit more defensive than Silth did. Still with me, Zeta?
Yep.
Alright.
Just staring at these two, waiting for someone to do something that actually requires play-by-play. And here we go, finally an engagement, and that is a lot of damage coming out of Silth. He's looking for more, but neither one wants to pop the ult. As soon as you pop the ult, as soon as you give away the pressure advantage, you're looking at a face full of enemy champion, and it doesn't matter which side you're on of this matchup. It is walking a knife's edge, to say the least.
Yeah, and I feel like Silth's ult kind of does have a bit of an advantage here, because he won't just instantly get exhausted. Oh, Jump
the flash and the charm, the exhaust to trade it in. Now Silth flashes away as well, but the spirit rush is here. He dashes over the wall. He has to dash back in, but he can't find the Lucian. He doesn't even ward over, and now, without the ward over, can he finish it off? No, the first blood goes to Silth, and that will be 3-1. Jump didn't even have a chance there. He could have pursued, but he just hesitated a little bit too long. And Silth picks up another game, one more, and he wins the series.
Yeah, and again, this is continuing off of last game, carrying that momentum further forward. Silth just looked really solid there in the end when it really boiled down to the last seconds and the last bits of health for both of these players. He just slightly edged out Jump once again. And yeah, like you said, one more game for Silth before he takes this series. This would almost have to be a reverse sweep, Tox. Almost. Jump does have 1 game to 3, so it's certainly not far, but, well, it is a long road for Jump, however. Not impossible, but very difficult. We will be right back with the next game very shortly. Don't go anywhere. We will be going to a quick break.
When the colors fade and it turns to gray, we'll calmly walk away from the fray. When structure falls and all else fails, we will build it once again. We can climb high, higher than before, or we could stand by while it burns to the floor, though we cannot fly. We will build and the wounds will mend.
Alrighty, here we are back into Champ Select once again. This is game 5 in this best of 7, and it is going to be an Alawi locked in for Silth. He wants to lock this series down right here, right now. He really wants to put Jump in his place, or what Silth perceives as his place. What do you think about Jump's last 2 picks that are available, Zeta? He only has the Caitlyn still.
No. If you win with it, it gets removed.
Oh, sorry. His 3 picks that he has here, then rather not last 2. So he still has the Ahri, still has Caitlyn.
He's got to win with the Ahri.
Yep. Then his last one is Cass. He has Cassio.
Yes, it has been declared in chat. So
yep.
Cassiopeia is the best choice here. I think Cassiopeia easily wins the matchup, but you have to take all 3 at some point. Doesn't really matter what order you do them in. So just take them as the chips fall and clean up as you can. I think that Ahri matchup could have been won if he really wanted to pursue it. But he slowed down and didn't want to go back over the wall with the last Spirit Rush into auto to finish him off. That was just unfortunate. It was so close and he could have taken him down, but c'est la vie. Now you got to pull 3 in a row.
Yeah, Jump definitely on the ropes here. And yeah, as you said, he just was not willing to make the commitment he wasn't willing to throw himself into the potential fire line of the Lucian, and it just ended up like that anyway, though. He ended up in that situation regardless. So Jump definitely has a lot of work to do, and Silth, this is his last pick. This is his last pick available. Since he's won 3 games, Alawi is his last remaining champion at this point. So regardless of if he wins and the series ends, and if he loses, then he's going to be back on the Alawi again. And then if he loses again, they'll be back on the Alawi for the last game. Jump has a mountain of Alawis to climb over here, potentially, if he wants any hope of being able to take this series. I'm not sure if Caitlyn is the right choice, but heck, if it's the worst, then at least he's trying to get that out of the way first.
It's certainly something. I think that the Caitlyn could be good, but it matters a heck of a lot where and when he puts his emphasis on these auto attacks, because he needs to have Ignite. He doesn't have Ignite. And if you don't have Ignite, you're just relying on pure positioning to stop Alawi. And so far in this best of series, it hasn't looked like his positioning has been clean enough to warrant that.
Yeah, but again, we will see how this works out on the Rift. All of these points will be considered and what have you, and more once we do load in. See how these players play. See if either of them make huge mistakes that completely turn the tables on our predictions here. Or big
Tune
plays.
in next time on Dragon Ball Z.
We're not going to go quite for that long, but we're just going to be gone for a short, very quick minute here. So do not go anywhere. We will be right back.
We build it once again. And we can climb high, higher than before. We could stand by while it burns to the floor. We cannot fly. We will build it, the words will end as we build it once. And we can climb high, higher than before. We could stand by while it burns to the floor. We cannot fly. We will build it, the world will end as we build it once again.
All right, well, in spite of the relaxing music, this is the potentially final game of this best of 7 1v1 series, guys. There should be no chill on the Rift right now. And, yeah, this should be very interesting. Caitlyn should just get run over by Alawi, I feel like. Alawi laning is entirely different beast than Alawi might be in the late game. And
Last time on Dragon Ball Z, Silth took an early lead with his 3-1 start, but Jump has something up his sleeve. Will the Caitlyn be enough to come back? Find out now.
sounds like a plan to me.
They could fist bump a tent. Fantastic emote. This is
Beautiful.
actually the first time they've
Ooh,
traded
BM.
autos. That's the first time they've traded autos during the initial taunt off that they've done.
Yeah.
So
Yep, they did it. They did
you
a
know
little
things
bit
are
in game
getting
1,
serious
and
when
Jump.
Jump is willing to do this. So
They did
round
it.
1,
They did
it's
it.
all up to this.
Live your life. Chase what you desire. What else
Yeah,
matters?
they did trade a little bit in
Or I'll shove your jaw
in game 1, so there was a few autos traded back and forth there. I think it was one auto for one auto, and then Jump actually threw a bomb in, which was supremely BM. I feel like extremely BM.
Oh, that was when I was DC'd, so I couldn't
Yeah.
actually comment on that.
Yeah, you were not there, to be fair. So as far as your experiences with this series have gone, you are completely right. But
You know what?
anyway,
That's
Oop,
technically correct, and that's the best kind
technically
of correct.
True.
if you have those spirits.
Yes.
And
definitely.
that is something Caitlyn does. She autos your tentacles, so you don't have much to slap her
Yep.
into the ground with. But
Yeah, that
at
has
the same time, it's still Alawi.
it is still Alawi, yeah, for sure. And I mean, she brings her own tentacles to the party. She can still vesselize you with her test of spirit, and that can just spawn more tentacles than you are prepared to deal with potentially. The other thing is that this could potentially cost Jump a bit of harass as well, because he has to kill those tentacles before he can take a trade. Because if he ends up having to walk into range of one of them and is not dead, then he will just outright lose the trade, and Silth will definitely be winning it, because one tentacle slap definitely outweighs a single Caitlyn auto. Even if it's a headshot, even if it's accompanied by a Piltover Peacemaker, there's just so many ways, and I feel like this can go poorly for Jump, and this is going to be the first bit of damage. That's a beautiful, beautiful tentacle slam from Silth. And this is a great start, honestly.
Yeah, you gotta test your spirit against this Alawi, because if you don't, he's gonna do it for you, and
Yeah.
it's really just right now. Can you poke down Alawi before she completely and utterly wrecks your face? And that does not look like the case. Just he's doing autos. He's autoing as much as he can, but there we go. Finally getting some damage. Finally getting close at least, and keeping it competitive as it were. But for right now, still not close enough to actually call it a game. Alawi, she's got a lot of health to play with. They both have sums, but given that there's no exhaust on the Caitlyn, if there's a jump, there's no way to peel.
Yeah, and I think the Test of Spirits will be one of the more important parts of this lane for Silth. We touched on it a little bit before. We just saw it a moment ago, hitting Jump a little bit. He was able to get one of his Q down onto both the clone and Jump himself simultaneously, so that is the most effective way that you can use your spells on Alawi, to hit both the spirit and the person that you pulled the spirit from. Hitting the spirit will deal a lot of damage to Jump, and it will put him on the back foot for about 15 seconds, which is the duration of the debuff. So overall, unless he wants to risk taking a lot of damage, something like that, just from going and walking in the wrong direction while vesselized, he's going to be at a huge amount of risk, and Silth is still taking a big beating from all these Piltover Peacemakers and headshots, though. Good thing about this Alawi is that she does have built-in sustain. However, every time she hits someone with a tentacle, she heals for a percentage of her maximum health, if I'm recalling correctly, and she also went for the Corrupting Potion as well. So Silth is still sitting pretty right now, although he is out of Corrupting Potion charges. He should be able to just shove this out and go back really whenever he wants to, if that is his decision.
Keep in mind, it's 39-23 currently in the score. And if that differential sticks, we are going to have probably our first CS timeout in terms of 1v1s. That usually comes at 100. I don't know if the rules have been defined as otherwise right now.
It's just typical 1v1 rules, aside from it being best of 7 and conquest format. Aside from that, it's first kill, first turret, or first to 100 CS. That is both of these players hitting 6 right now. Silth is really low, but still going for the fight nonetheless, and takes Jump even lower. Gets him with the Vessel. Puts him at a huge amount of risk. Just a flash.
I don't think he needed to flash there. He just was not confident enough in his walking abilities. But now, Silth has got to know that he's low, but does he know how low he is? Close to the turret.
Test of Spirit can just outright kill him here.
Doesn't have flash.
Oh, Silth,
under turret. One more slam. Still alive. This Caitlyn kiting it out, and Jump, he dropped low. He burned his flash on a tentacle slam, but right now it just doesn't matter. He's still getting health back. He's still getting the Warlord's heal. Finally, Warlords instead of Grasp, and because of that, Caitlyn finally hitting some strides.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, like, that was so close for both of these players, but Jump is just in the superior position. He's up 20 CS, and while it might not go to 100, it is definitely a possibility, but I mean, I think it's even more possible that it will not. Jump has a lot more money than Silth did. Granted, it won't mean all that much, as it's only going to be the difference of 2 potions for Jump over Silth. And Silth started with the Corrupting Potion anyway, so sustain still isn't even an issue for him. So this is pretty much dead. Even in the Alawi just has higher AD scaling. She packs more of a punch in her spells if she's able to land those tentacles.
But down 20 CS, if this goes any longer than it is, it's going to be a CS timeout, and Silth will be forced to act, because otherwise he is guaranteed a loss.
No, Silth, rather. Is,
Didn't I say Silth?
You said jump. Pretty sure. You said,
I think I said Silth. I am reasonably sure I did.
Maybe I misheard you then. I don't know. Regardless, it is
I'm
in
tired.
fact
I'm
Silth.
not that tired, I hope.
Yeah, I don't know.
But-
I may have misheard you. Regardless of what was said, Silth is the one that definitely has to act. Apparently Jump seems to be running one single crit rune, so he just crit Silth there. That's pretty
Let me tell you
cheesy.
something about that one crit rune. Because it's not true crit, every time you don't crit, the chance goes up. And
Yep.
so the reason you bring a crit rune is because eventually it guarantees you a crit at some point. And that makes people pretty salty when you get crit and it leads to your death. Especially at levels 1 through 4 or so.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah, I ran one crit mark for like 2 years on my ADC page, so I'm very much familiar with it myself as well, for sure. It used to be pretty common, honestly, because the system also rounds up. It's like, it's only 90, it's what, 0.93% of one critical strike chance, something like that. It's like
something.
0.93.
It's under a percent.
Yeah, it's under 1%, but the system just rounds up. So it automatically rounded up to 1% crit chance, and then there's also the weighting system that you mentioned. Every time you crit, you reduce your chances of critting in the upcoming attacks, basically. And that's just always how it works. Silth might go down here. That's it.
Oh,
Wow.
there we go. The Caitlyn finally showing the worth, and a second win on the board means we're going to be going to game number 5. Game number 6?
Game 6, yeah. That was game 5.
That was game 5. This is game number 6. 3 to 3? Is it 3 to 3? Oh, 3 to 2?
3 to 2. 3 to 2 for Silth
Okay,
still.
we've
He's
done
still-
5 games.
Yeah.
We are on to game number 6.
Yep.
Back soon whenever.
For now you can stay right here, we will play until somehow you can find a slightly different frame of mind. Right here in my arms, away from all harm, you'll be safe from all the flares, although I know you don't care. You can lift your head up to the sky, take a deeper breath and give it time. You can walk the path among the lines with your shattered frame of mind. Or instead you could always stay. We can wait right here and play until somehow you can find a slightly better frame of mind. When they say you will fall, you can reach nothing at all. Hide your tracks beneath the rind of a different frame of.
Alrighty, guys, here we are back again for game number 6 this time. It is still going to be an Alawi lock-in for Silth, as that is the last champion that he has remaining in his pool. And Jump is now reduced to only 2 with the Ari and the Cassiopeia remaining in his pool. So he still has a bit of a mountain to climb here. Still has to win 2 more games back to back. But at this point, it's definitely not out of the question.
It's game number 6.
Yes.
Score is 3-2. If Silth wins this, he wins. If Jumps wins this, we're going to the rematch that they were apparently desiring, but I'm not really sure why. Because I feel like they could have just done that in the first place. But, maybe maybe I'm old-fashioned. Maybe maybe I'm old-fashioned in that. And I usually say we're going to do 1v1 and we 1v1. But, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's both of their best champions, ultimately, Alawi and Cassio, at least as far as I am aware. Jump has picked up Cassio quite a lot recently, and I know Silth has basically been an Alawi main since her release. I'm going to guess about since her release, something like that. I don't know exactly. Anyway, so that's like the climactic, be-all, end-all match that they're saving up the hype for, That's why they didn't just do it first. You don't just want to throw all that hype out the window and nobody comes back for the other 6 games that could potentially happen. But right now, it is Alawi versus Ari. It will be very much interesting as Ari does not have nearly as much range as Caitlyn, but she can still poke, she can still shove, she can still stop Alawi's W, I believe, with the charm. This is not considered a movement ability, and it doesn't just, it's not unstoppable or anything like that, so should be an interesting match.
Yeah, it doesn't stop any movement now, but on landing he will be at least somewhat incapacitated. I don't know how long it is over the top, but it should be interesting at least.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we will be right back, guys. A few short seconds remaining until we get into game number 6 here. We will be right back after this short break.
Is that what you heard? Broken words in the dirt, yelling up into the sun. Here we come, here we come. Here we come, here we come. Here we come, here we come. You can lift your head up to the sky. Take a deeper breath and give it time. You can walk the path among the lines with your shattered frame of mind. It's that you could always stay. We can wait right here and play until somehow you can find a slightly better frame of mind. You can lift your head up to the sky. Take a deeper breath and give it time. You can walk the path among the lines with your shattered frame of mind. It's that you could always stay. We can.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back to the Rift game number 6 between Silth and Jump. It is Ari again versus Alawi. That is probably going to be the last time I repeat that. I hope at least. But nonetheless, here we go into some great level 1 action of just spamming dance back and forth. Ooh, there's a BM auto from Silth. But
Yeah,
absolutely
they're
nothing.
not pulling punches to say the least, but we'll see if there are any other suspect blows traded before the bell is actually rung. Remember, this has been a mostly well-mannered series, now down to the last death throws, as it were. Max of 2 games remaining. Jump.
Yep.
Still got it all on the line to play for. Silth just has to close out one of these last 4 in order to get the victory.
Chase what you desire. What else
Yeah, and
matters?
he is really looking to prove something here. He was very confident that he would beat Jump, although the same was said, the same came from Jump's side as well. Nothing out of the ordinary for these two. Jump is always confident going into any 1v1s. That's the only reason that he would challenge people to them. I feel like nobody really goes into a 1v1 looking to lose, though, so that's not really saying too much, I guess. But anyway, both just really playing for bragging rights here, but Silth definitely would like to close this out and not get somewhat reverse swept by Jump. He doesn't want to pull, like, he doesn't want to merge C9 and TSM into, or like Curse and TSM into one team where you lose the first game and then bounce back and win all the rest, but then you choke and get reverse swept at the last second. Definitely don't want to do that. You don't want to take all the games in the middle.
No. See, that's explained by a much simpler phenomenon.
Okay.
One detailed by a man named Skara. Up until they lose, they're winning. And
Right,
that is
yeah.
100% the case with Silth.
like
Actually,
it.
it could describe both of them. I mean, most of Jump's losses have been when he's pressuring in and then just gets turned on in the last half second. So, Dignitas spirit, definitely alive and well in NA. If anyone tells you that the 76ers had to revive it, they're lying. It's been in our hearts the entire time.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for Cutie Pie to make his return to the team, and then they just go back to their old Baron throwing ways.
Oh, they'd have
need
to
at
pay him
least-
a lot of money.
They would. Absolutely.
Dude, how much money would you have to pay Cutie Pie to be, a mediocre NA AD? No, sorry, my bad. As a Cutie Pie sub, I have to say the best ADC in NA.
I've heard he makes a lot more than any team in NA
2
would
million
be
from
willing
his
to pay
Twitch
it.
stream.
Yeah. He
Quote
makes-
unquote, a year.
Yeah,
So,
so
whether or not
there's a
that's
lot.
true,
Ooh, Silth.
Flash is available, so is an auto. That's game number 7. Quicker than usual, so I think I might actually be able to be around for the next one, but we are quickly running out of all of our times. The champ selects are taking longer than everything else. The delay is taking longer than everything. This is unfortunate, to say the least, but it's fortunate for Jump. He's made the comeback. It's going to game 7. We'll be back in just one short minute.
Right here and play until somehow you can find a slightly better frame of mind. And when the light comes through, when that day is in.
Alrighty, guys, here we are. Game number 7, Champ Select. I don't even know if we needed to come back here, honestly. Like, if we could just immediately load into the game with Cassio and Laui locked in, that would be great.
Well,
But
here we are.
alas,
Again.
not the case. Yes.
I'm falling to pieces. Can't deny it.
Well, this is for literally everything that these players came for. All the bragging rights, all the marbles. And they are pulling out their two best champions.
Quote
This
unquote.
should be, yeah. I mean,
It's more a rematch than best champs, but we'll see if it lives up to the hype.
Yeah, we shall see. Last time, actually, I think the last time that Jump faced off versus Silth Salawi on a Learning 5 stream, he went 0-17 on Azir. So he may have faced off against him like another time, maybe. Maybe that's what this rematch is from. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe I'm forgetting something. But Jump has been very resilient in this best of 7, taking it all the way to 7 from he was at the brink of losing, and all of a sudden he just started pulling it back, and now here we are. And it is looking really good for Jump. He has the momentum. He has a really strong champion, I feel, versus Alawi. Cassio will kind of end up playing similarly to Caitlyn, although she has quite a bit more all-in potential and maybe can even end this as similarly early as the Ahri, although the lockdown is definitely lacking and the hard CC being non-existent really for the Cassio pre-6 is maybe not
At least he has Ignite now.
But yeah, did switch it up to the Ignite. Saw swap to Ghost, then to Ignite, so he's flipped through a few things. But that's a huge damage advantage for Jump, I feel like, as Silth will kind of just get kited around, honestly, if Jump plays his fantasy properly, and he will be out of range of the exhaust a lot of the time.
Back soon.
Alrighty, well, with all of that said, guys, we will be right back with the last match of the night. We're just going to go to a very quick break to get us through the spectator delay, and we will be back with all the action with for you in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. Alrighty, guys, we are onto the Rift now once again for game number 7 between Jump and Silth. This is it. This is for all the marbles, all the bragging rights, all of the bragging rights, and this is the token matchup of this entire best of series. This is what we were waiting for. This is not, in fact, a rematch, actually, but this is just the most explosive matchup that we can expect to see tonight, I suppose.
We'll see if it lives up to the hype or if
Hopefully
it falls flat. Because this is a long time coming. We've been here for better part of an hour and a half, and we haven't crowned a winner yet, so we have to this game. And more than likely it'll be decided by actual death rather than farming out, because I can't see either of these two champs being able to farm to 100 before one of them dies.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, and with how aggressively these guys both know their limits on these champions, or at least they should. So I think the aggression will be much crazier. These two will be pushing their limits just a little bit more. Silth has already been kind of playing maybe to the edge of his limit, or maybe he hasn't been pushing as much at all, and he's just been waiting and biding his time for this match to really go super try hard here. We can already see that he's playing pretty conservatively and not trying to take too much damage. Jump, meanwhile, is just pushing the wave as much as possible and trying to set Silth up under this tower, get a CS lead, and be able to kill those tentacles whenever he has a bit of an opening.
Yeah, it's pretty much as expected right now. I mean,
yeah, nothing too weird yet. Nothing out of the ordinary. I'm just maybe a little bit surprised that Jump hasn't gone for some super crazy aggression yet, but maybe not wanting to throw away this game
now
just
that he
quickly,
should have a W, he's actually on double points into his fangs instead of W, so see if it pays off now, but still not landing any Qs, and a bunch of his health get chunked away with that trial.
Yeah, the Test of Spirit is very powerful, and Silth constantly being able to land those can just straight up win him the lane on its own, really. That tentacle that just spawned there and tried to hit Jump, although it didn't hit him, it still pushed the wave, so these are like small little like edging leads for Silth, and he did get a decent amount of damage onto Jump initially, but now he's the one getting pushed around as the lane kind of resets. It's just a brief little window of an advantage for this Alawi, and then it just kind of falls away again into the Cassiopeia show.
Poison is so close every time, but here finally there's some aggression. There's no follow-up, and the exhaust is down. No mana left on the Cassio. Means that Jump surely has to back off at this point, because right now power is in the hands of the Alawi. He doesn't have any mana to play with.
Yeah, he's just desperately looking to try to pick up some last hits. So that Poison Fang does refund your mana when you get a last hit with it. It refunds the mana cost of it, and the Doran's Ring will also refund a bit of mana on top of that as well. So extremely good way to sustain your mana as Cassio, really the only way that you can. So Jump is just trying to look for one last hit opening, but he can't go for trades right now because he's just looking to last hit creeps. There's no way that he can afford to take a trade because he doesn't have the mana for it. Your Fang doesn't do any damage unless you have already landed and procced that poison.
Right now it's not looking great for Jump. On the other hand, though, Silth, he took a beating early, but right now it's exactly where he needs to be. He's just trying to take control of this game, trying to actually push his lead for once. Down a bunch of CS again, but hasn't bothered him in the past. We'll see if it does now. He's taking damage. Poison is there, but the mana is not. Again, Jump is foiled by his own creation. The mana letting him down every time.
Yeah, and that's just the situation that he's in right now. If he can reset and get over half of his mana bar back, then he'll be pretty comfortable to try to go back in, and he might even be able to finish the job with just that mana. But right now, he's just not allowed enough time from Silth to be able to do that, and Silth is just going to shove this out. Jump basically has to resign a bunch of CS here in order to get back, but he doesn't really mind all that much since he's already up in... I mean, he's already up about 12 CS, so definitely doesn't mind missing out on a few.
It was up 20, though, so the fact that it's closing is not great for him, especially if he wants to keep the pressure up on this lane.
Yeah, and this time we see Silth not quite able to pick up as good of an item as he did versus the Caitlyn, which was a BF sword. This time he only gets the pickaxe. Pickaxe is perfectly fine. A lot of flat AD still a big power spike for Alawi, but you know, not quite as good as BF sword. It's hard to match that unless you literally buy that item. Ooh, still taking a lot of damage here.
Oh, almost, but he's got the ultimate. He's got the damage. He does not have the kill, though, and Jump turns it around for the last kill and the almost entirely reverse sweep. 4-3. It goes over to Jump in the last game of the best of 7.
Really solid from Jump on the Casio. Don't really want to dig into that entirely too much. But congratulations to Jump for being able to turn that around on the ropes for 3 games in a row. And he still pulls it back in the end.
Yep.
If you have any closing thoughts, now is your chance. If not, then...
If anyone is here, thanks for joining us.
Alrighty, well,
That's about it.
That said, alright, solid closer. With all of that said, guys, I want to thank you all so much for watching Learning Fives tonight. This was kind of a last-second thing that we threw together, but I hope you all did enjoy nonetheless. If you want to catch up, if you missed any of the match tonight, then go ahead and check our Twitch VODs. It should already be up now, the very beginning of it at the very least, and check YouTube shortly after. If you're new to the Learning Fives community and want to come hang out with us so you can be notified of any updates in the future and maybe even participate in the program for yourself, feel free to go ahead and check out our Discord and Twitter down below so you can keep up with everything there. And again, with all that said, I've joined by Zeta. My name is Blaster Boy, and I want to thank you all so much for watching tonight. We will see you guys this weekend with some of the tournament matches, the finals of the tournaments. Will be streamed and casted right here as usual. We'll let you guys know of those times in the coming days. But until then, see you next time.